Johnny,
Hey, buddy.
welcome everybody
Yeah.
to recovery. Let's talk about it. And freedom. Wow, freedom is letting go.
hmm
We've titled it Letting Go. And we're going to talk about that and what that represents, a little bit about the why we did or do what we did and or what we did rather and why we did it. Um, we'll try to go back and go over a little bit, it's for our audience, let them understand a little bit about where we've come from and the powerlessness, the little bit of hope that's instilled. And really what we get to is this important aspect of the journey. And really what it comes down to is that the whole control factor, the whole Glenn being in control and playing God thing is just not panning out too well. Even in recovery, it's not working. I'm trying to think, I'm going to stick around and see if these steps work, a little contempt upon investigation going on. And I realize I still have this fear of this God of my misunderstanding because I was having a hard time with 3 because I just didn't have, for me, how am I supposed to let go and let God when the God that I know that I'm letting go to has got a pitchfork in his hand? So it was super difficult. So coming to learn the truth, it took a minute, Johnny, but we get there. We get there, don't we?
It's a process, a long process.
You see, there it is again.
Well,
And it is.
Okay, so in the last 15 years, I have been through many emotional stages in my recovery. I didn't want to turn it over to anybody.
Now you got my attention.
And the reason why is because things weren't going to go my way. I was going to lose something, or basically I needed something I really didn't need, but I just needed to get it. So I would manipulate it. And when you start to, when things are not going your way and you start to incorporate a behavior to where you are, I'm telling you, I have done it so many times, and there's a lot of people out there that probably can relate to this, but there's a point that just comes in your recovery after a while where you just sit down and you're like, okay, I am controlling this thing and I need to let it go. I mean, just like that. And what happens is there's a sense of peace, and it might not happen. That's okay. But then probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, something else better comes along that happens. And so as time went on, I had to incorporate my higher power, which is the Lord. Okay. It took me a while to get there, but I realized, yes. And then when I started to incorporate him every time, talking to him, speaking to him, there's only one person on this journey from when I am born till I die is the Lord. He's always on my path. Always, always, always. My wife, I love her. Glenn, my sponsor, my family, we come together and then we part. No one's ever on that path, my journey. The only person is God. And I've realized that. Now what I do is when I'm going on my path and there's things that are going on that are really kind of crazy that's going on and things are not going my way and I'm getting very irritated, I sit and talk with him. Lord, please take this from me. This is too much. And for some reason he does. And it's amazing feeling. It is amazing feeling, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a great feeling, and even though it doesn't come down to feelings, the truth is,
right. You're right.
It's exhausting.
Yes,
I mean,
it's exhausting.
playing God and trying to control, have an idea of an outcome that I perceive, and I want to make that outcome happen my way.
Right.
I say that I'm trusting God, but really I have an agenda. I want it to come out a certain way. So I behave a certain way or I act a certain way. So, but the truth is that thing never pays off in the end. It always comes back to bite me. It's exhausting to try to keep it up because it's sort of the movie with Jim Carrey. You think you can play God, but you realize after a while it's so exhausting.
It is.
And then that's the truth behind it is that the lies, the truth about what says that'll satisfy me in me playing God, it never satisfies me.
Right.
So, but what happens is that it's never going to be about me feeling better. It's always going to come down whether or not I'm believing better.
Yeah.
And what I believe in has a big deal to do with what or how this life is going to move forward. How am I going to come into my own? How am I going to discover myself if I can't turn myself over to a God of the God of my misunderstanding? There was no way I was going to do it, Johnny. I mean, he was mad, and every time I made a mistake, we're talking, he was going to, he was after me. I didn't understand God was love.
Yeah.
I had to get a little bit of a transformation going on. And that's, sponsorship, that's mentorship, that's sticking around a while, listening to people that have been around and that understand that you can start to make really responsible and productive decisions based on really a God of love instead of a God of like I had with a pitchfork in his hand trying to get me.
Well, once again, I'm going to go back to emotional stages. I mean, this is something that needs to be talked about more often. And emotional stages, emotional sobriety, not too high, not too low. My buddy Frankie told me that a long time ago. And and I really understand, and this is very important, that when things are not going your way and you feel irritable, restless, and discontent, that you're going to learn that letting go quicker is easier, because when you're controlling everything, you're going to have an emotional hangover. And I'm going to keep listen on this show. We will talk about the same darn thing over and over and over again, because that's what we do. We need to hear it over and over and over again in different ways, different forms, different style. Just we have to hear the same message. It just that's the only way that it's stuck with me, is I heard it over and over again. So as you're going through your sobriety and you're learning to let it go, talk about it. Talk about it with your sponsor. Talk about it with men or women. That whoever, if the women talk with the women, the men talk with the men. But for the most part, it's very important that when I'm going to different people, I have to make sure that I got to be careful where I get my advice from. First of all,
people, places, and things are really people on the inside. They tell us to change everything on the outside, but on the inside of those rooms, very important to pick the right people. Johnny, it's very, very, very important.
It's very important, because if I go to say, like I go to somebody that's just cussing and their language is bad, and I'm going to be redirected in a way that's going to be catastrophic. It's going to be, and I'll believe it. If I don't know any better, I'm going to believe it. So I got to be careful who I go to. And you can see, listen to when they're sharing. Is it peaceful? Is it good? Does it have any love, any God in their conversation? And if not, if they're just spewing, talking bad about people, making fun of people, those are the people that you don't want to go to. So going back to what we're saying about letting go and letting God is very important. to go ahead and make sure I'm getting the info that is presented to me, so I can. I don't know how that is coming off wrong, but I know that I got to let it go quickly and have God come into my life. Otherwise, it's going to be bad.
Yeah. Well, and here's some facts, right? Really, really the only thing that sets us free is truth. When we talk about real freedom, you're talking about truth, real truth, unfabricated or made up. I can read literature, I can read the Bible until the cows come home.
Yeah.
And I can get all the knowledge in the world. But if I'm not actually becoming, or if I'm not believing the thing that I'm reading, that I can actually become what I'm reading, then I'm just reading it for knowledge. Then I'm one of those guys that just recites all the pages and I know all the quotes and, but nothing is really transforming yet in my life.
Right. So you can own a cookbook and starve. Is that what you're saying?
Wait a minute. How did you know? You've been looking in my drawers.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, if you don't put any action into and learning new behaviors and incorporate them into your personality, you're going to get the same thing. You're going to be doing the same thing. You're going to be doing a shady stuff. There's a lot of manipulation going on. There's a lot, and you're not going to let go of anything. It's that bad pride and that bad ego is going to keep it in. And I have some people in my life that I know of, and they just won't let go of anything. It's pretty bad to watch because you want them to. Yeah.
That's a serious battle, because
very serious.
Hearing you can't, or you won't, or don't try, it's not worth it, or it's too hard, you're a throwaway, and just forget it. It's the 1, 2, 3 shuffle, and there's a loud voice going off inside my head, and I remember it, and it was a struggle to fight to go forward.
Oh my gosh!
But I was around the right people, and I kept coming back. And what I realized was all of those lies, they needed to be traded in, because really I had identity. I had value and purpose and potential that I was not aware of yet. And it was waiting to come out, but it was based on really believing. And so, because we don't walk by feelings. If we walk by feelings,
it's bad.
We're going to be in trouble.
Right.
Every time I have a feeling, I'm going to make a decision or react to a feeling, I'm going to be in big trouble. No, we walk by faith, which really is what we believe, which is truth.
Yeah. So I think that, you have to identify what you can control and what you can't, right? And then you have to address what you can control. And basically what it comes down to is I can control me. I can control anything inside my sandbox. Okay. I can control my anger, control the way that I communicate, the way that I react. So, but too much stuff out there in the real world, or outside my my sandbox, if I try to control it all the time, it's going to be emotion. I'm going to be emotionally exhausted.
Yeah.
All day long. And it's not fun to walk through the day with that. But for the most part, I could sit and meditate, right? And just take it easy and talk with God. I think that's the biggest thing for me that I'm learning more and more, is just to talk with him and establish a healthy relationship with him. And once I did that, and I'm doing that now, and I'm trying to get better at that, it's for some reason there's peace within my heart. Peace within my heart without controlling. Try it.
Yeah.
What do you have to lose?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's I can be recovered. I mean, I can be in recovery and be recovered from alcohol and be as mean as a snake.
Oh my.
I can do all 12 steps and still be, not transformed yet, because really all the steps are important. The principles are all important, but specifically 3 and 11, I mean, are super, if I'm allowing my conscience to speak to me truthfully from love, from God. And I'm following that small, still voice instead of listening to the ones that, are full of anger and rage and you can't and you won't. Then there's going to be no transformation. I'm going to be sober, but I'm not going to have that peace you're talking about.
Right,
It's not going to be there.
right.
I mean, so step 3 is vital.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is super vital. So,
Yeah.
and he's there. I mean, really, the Lord is in the conscience. It's the small, still voice. It's just taking time, meditation. We talk about meditation all the time. Meditate a little bit.
Yeah.
If we slow it down, we can listen and hear.
Yeah.
He's there.
Yeah. Practice makes habit. And it's very important that you incorporate that. It's just to take the time to do a little here, a little there, meditate here, meditate there. There's many times I'll sit and watch the trees sway. It's crazy, right? So over the years, I've been able to feel a little bit more as far as my senses came back from all that gook in my body, and I'm starting to feel again. And for some reason, there's a connection with him, and there's a sense of love and compassion and grace. So I just want to make a point that me and Glenn, even though we're on this podcast, we struggle all the time. Wait
a minute. Life still shows up. I mean, life still gets hard.
I chew nails. I'm just trying. Just telling you, we're just trying to be on this podcast and to maybe there's someone out there that's feeling what we're feeling and they just don't know where to go. And so, hey, you're not alone. Yeah. That's why we do this. But
hey, and we brought it. We're bringing it live and uncut, John. That's the best part. We want people to see the true, real, just talk. Yeah. The way it really sounds.
I could sit in here, you guys, with this $18 coffee cup. But look at that. See that? I'm going to say it again. That's my grand. There it is. My grand
advertisement, but
from like 7 years ago. It worked perfectly. The other ones are too big and it's crazy. So I keep it simple, very simple. So, but I tell you, Glenn, it's amazing, man. It's amazing where we were and where we're at now. And it's amazing, guys, to just me and Glenn. I've been doing this for a while and it's amazing that we're on this podcast, right? Doing what we're doing. And that's not a God sent. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to say this and then I'm going to shut up and let you talk. But when we started getting this podcast, when we started getting this podcast going, I mean, we had to let go a lot. There's a lot of things we wanted to do. We wanted this. Let's do that. Let's do this. And we had to just let things go and take place. I went away on vacation. Glenn was sitting around, trying to do a lot of research. Okay. And what happened was it worked out.
Yeah.
Because we were going to go get everything, the cameras, the whole 9 yards. We're going to get on there. Oh my God, there's going to be people all around. No. We sat on it for a while.
A legend in my own mind.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, but it's just amazing how things are starting to come together because we're able to let go and just leave it alone.
Yeah.
That's why I'm bringing this up.
And that's what happens. We, what we're talking about, the direction that we're heading through the journey is that we're coming into our own. We're Glenn is about to show up on the scene and Johnny's about to show up on the scene. And there's a real person there that has value and identity and purpose. And it's okay that not everybody's going to like me. It's okay that not everybody's going to love me. It's just okay. And so we're going to discover some things about ourselves that we're creating a lot of chaos and problems, and we're going to be able to sit and ask God and really begin to work on, it's not a behavioral modification, Johnny. In the end, it's not. It's really about the heart. Yes. And that's why if God isn't love,
say it
if
again.
He's not love, then, I don't have no power in 11. When I get there, there's no way that I'm going to be able to perform His will in my life. I'm not going to be able to walk in love and be kind and
Yeah.
and serve others. I'm not going to be able to do it. So
Yeah. The heart has changed for me. It really has. And, you know, I look back way back and who I was, you know, kind of like back in the day, and I have a new identity. Um, and the reason why I have a new identity and my heart has changed is because I've been able to let go of a lot of things. And like I said, if there's anybody that's new that's listening to this, this is a process. It takes time. It takes a while for you to incorporate that and feel that and incorporate that in your behavior.
yeah,
And so I would encourage you to easy does it, to use a feather. Don't beat
yeah,
yourself up. It's
yeah,
okay if you're not okay. It's okay if you're not okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Look down at my feet. It's
That's right
tough.
where I
And,
think.
everything I know, Johnny, I've learned or have been taught. And you know what? Look
Wow.
down at my feet, be where I am.
Yes.
I don't live in that zip code of the past anymore. I'm not identifying myself with what was done to me. I was abused sexually. Anybody that's watching the videos knows a little bit about our testimony. You know what I mean? I'm not a victim.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I don't live there anymore. I don't have to, in my mind, transport myself back to that day and time. I can live right now in this moment and actually enjoy with an attitude of gratitude, be thankful that this is actually happening. It's hard, but the moment, even though we can't capture it, we live in it moment by moment. And it's really a good journey. And worrying about the future doesn't do us much good either, because no man knows what a day brings. So let's be the best that we can today with what we have. And really what that comes down to is, again, it's not going to come down to emotions and feelings. We're going to find that out. You guys are going to find that out. It's what we believe. We're only going to measure up to what we actually believe. That's as high as we're going to go. If I don't believe it, I can't achieve it. And so these are just some truths that we're going to need for the rest of the journey. It's going to get a little hard coming up here down the road a little bit. But the truth is, Johnny, we're looking down, being here right now, even in this moment, like you said, man, what a joy
Yeah.
that it is. Really.
It is a joy. There's no
Put down
doubt
that
about it.
powerlessness, realize it didn't work. Things were out of control. My life was unmanageable. It really was nice to come to that, stepping out of denial into God's grace and just really, developing a little bit of hope and really beginning to start to develop this relationship with God. And, as we understand him, not as we understood or even came in with, because most of us came in with that there was not a great mentality or a thought behind what or who God was. So I know that's true for a lot of people. So you can't get there with that God of a misunderstanding. Let's get the true God of our understanding, the God of love. I just,
I mean, that's
I'm not turning this over to anything that don't love me. I ain't doing it. So
Glenn, we've talked many years of like letting go of so many things. And what Glenn was just talking about is, I'm going to say it again. It is a process and it takes time. So for all you out there that are wanting to get better quick, okay, that I would encourage you to enjoy the journey, maybe to journal a little, write some stuff down. I wrote some stuff down and I look back, and you know what was crazy? I was reading some of the stuff that I had like 4 years ago, and I couldn't believe that the thinking that I had back then. And now, I mean, I can't even imagine 5 years from now, the way that I process it. And I have behaviors that are sometimes ridiculous, and it's okay. That's just who I am, you know. I don't. I'm learning to let it go quicker, And matter of fact, me and Glenn were talking about some things that I have that is very as you guys get, there's a lot of insecurities about myself that I have. And me, Glenn would, and I would, you know, we're able to talk about it, you know, and that's what I've done over the years is when things are not going my way, to let it go and to realize that he's doing something.
Yep.
Like this podcast. I'm sitting here watching myself on video, and there's certain things I don't like. I'm just going to tell you out. I don't care. This is all real, man. I'm going to let you know I don't like those certain things about myself, the way that I talk, the way that, but I'm here, and I'm just kind of, I want to be there for someone else that's struggling, that, you know, that thinks that they're, you know, unique, and they have, you know, this kind of stuff that's going on in their life, that they're the only ones that are going through this. That's bullcrap.
There you go. Now you got my attention again.
Yeah. So you're not alone, you know?
Yep.
But just trust the process. It takes a while, and it's such a great journey. So
yeah. Well, we got a couple minutes, Johnny, and I agree totally. You know, like I said, I don't claim anything. I know everything was taught, I learned, and I applied.
There it is,
and
right there.
I know my thinking and what I'm thinking leads to a behavior, right? To an action. So what I'm thinking will lead me to an action. That action will lead me to a behavior, and that behavior over time develops character. So whether it's good or whether it's bad, that's what's going to form. So when I start thinking different, I start actually talking, walking, and looking different. So there's some truths that we need to absorb along the way, and it really is. And we come to terms with it by confronting it. You know, steps 4, step 5.
No, I hear exactly what you're saying, 100%.
Yeah.
But I realize this is that when it comes down to it, it says right here, resolve not to act on fear, but on faith. I always act on fear. It's consistent, and I never lean on my higher power. I never lean on God, and I lean on myself, and I fall every single time.
And fear's not even from God.
It's not even from God.
It's not even from him, but it's still steering the bus, right?
All the time. So
right. And
as
we're going to learn.
As time goes on, if you can, and you're going through this, just sit down.
Yeah.
Sit down and relax for a second.
Look down at your feet, be where you're at. It's a good moment. If you're sober, you're there.
It's crazy.
Gratitude list, you know, there's some things we look back, we see what God has done. Just a few 4 or 5 weeks in, even really the first day. But 4 or 5 weeks in, a month, 2 months in, we start to look back and go, wow, look at these little things that he's doing, and it's happening. Yeah. So
you're smiling.
It's a process, Johnny.
Yeah.
It's a process. Yeah. And
enjoy life, guys.
And at Recovery, let's talk about it. 444 is where you're going to find us on YouTube. And this is what it's going to look like right here.
Hit that like button.
Yep. And you know what I mean? Just
leave your comments.
Thanks everybody for watching, and hit that like button.
Leave your comments. Anything.
Subscribe and share a comment. You know, somebody, you know, we want to talk about some things. It doesn't necessarily have to be, we're open to talk about anything. So get those comments out there. We love everybody, Johnny.
Good or bad. Good or bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't just love me when I'm good, please.
Yeah, man.
Please. So anyway, much love, Johnny, to you and to all the viewers. Until next time.
Yeah. We love you very much.
Yep.